5 seasons. 5 escalating waves of terror, mystery, and impossible revelations. And now that the newest season has arrived, it's the perfect moment to dive into everything that pushed Hawkins to the edge of collapse. But before we begin this descent into the unknown, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. This journey is long, dark, and full of twists, and you won't want to miss what comes next. Everything begins on a night that should have been ordinary. A quiet road, a boy on a bike, and the hum of streetlights. Then the air shifts, shadows stretch, lights flicker, and Will Byers disappears as if the world itself opened beneath him. Hawkins always seemed peaceful, but something ancient pulsed underneath, waiting for a crack. When it finally broke open, it unleashed not just a creature, but a chain of events that would change every life in town. Season 1 opens with a wrongness that spreads slowly. Will is gone, and Joyce feels something reaching through the walls of her home. Lights blinking like coded messages, static breathing through empty rooms. Hopper searches for clues, uncovering lies, missing files, and a government presence that doesn't belong in a small Indiana town. Out in the woods, Mike, Dustin, and Lucas find a girl hiding from a nightmare. She barely speaks, flinches at every noise, and seems terrified of the world itself. They call her 11, without realizing she's at the heart of everything happening around them. And with each passing hour, Hawkins shifts. Odd shadows move where nothing should stand. People whisper about strange experiments. The line between reality and something else begins to thin. As 11 gains their trust, she reveals fragments of a truth too big to fully grasp. She grew up inside the Hawkins lab, pushed into extreme experiments that opened cracks between worlds. During one session, she touched something alive in the darkness, something that watched her back. Meanwhile, the Demogorgon hunts through Hawkins, slipping between dimensions like a predator made of shadow. Joyce turns her home into a glowing grid of hope, communicating with Will through flickering lights. Hopper breaks into the lab, uncovering sensory tanks and sealed corridors buzzing with threat. Barb disappears. Animals vanish. Strange wounds appear in the forest. The boys follow 11's visions, discovering that the creature is connected to that other realm, a twisted reflection of their own world. The search for Will becomes a race against time. Hopper finds the portal, a swirling wound of blue light, beating like an open chest. Joyce refuses to give up, convinced her son is alive somewhere inside that nightmare. Guided by 11, the boys prepare for the Demogorgon's return, fear tightening around them like a vice. At the school, the creature finally attacks, its scream shaking the halls. 11 steps forward, trembling, exhausted, but ready. She unleashes every memory, every pain, every ounce of strength she has left, obliterating the creature in a blast of energy. But victory comes with a price. 11 vanishes in the explosion. Will is rescued, breathing weakly, but alive. And Hawkins is left scarred, the portal sealed, at least for now. Season 2 begins with a different kind of terror. Quiet, internal, and unrelenting. Will is home, but pieces of him are still trapped in the dark. He sees visions of burning skies and a shadow stretching across the horizon. He freezes without warning, sketches swirling patterns he can't explain, and feels something watching him from beyond the veil. Joyce watches him crumble, terrified that the creature never truly let him go. Hopper follows trails of rotting pumpkins, discovering fields collapsing into black sludge, as if the earth itself is rotting. 11 hides in Hopper's cabin, torn between longing and the growing power inside her. Hawkins tries to return to normal, but something in the air says the nightmare is far from over. Beneath the town, something enormous is forming. Hopper discovers tunnels snaking through the ground, warm, wet, and pulsing like veins. The Upside Down isn't leaking anymore. It's growing. Will slips deeper into the Mind Flayer's grasp, his temperature dropping as the entity takes control. Through Will, the creature speaks, its voice cold, calculating, and hungry. 11 searches for her origins, finding other children and confronting truths she never wanted to know. Meanwhile, strange behavior spreads across Hawkins. people moving in eerie unison, animals fleeing invisible threats, vines spreading through the tunnels beneath them. The Mind Flayer is preparing for something bigger than anything they've faced. The Mind Flayer's invasion peaks when it overtakes Will completely, using him as a conduit to learn Hawkins from the inside. Joyce, Hopper, and Mike fight to push the creature out, turning their home into a battleground of heat and light. Dustin realizes Dart, the creature he adopted, is a Demogorgon, now loyal to the Mind Flayer. Chaos erupts. The tunnels pulse like a living system preparing to burst. And then 11 returns. She stands before the roaring gate, wind blasting around her, drawing power from everything she's lived through. With one final scream, she seals the portal, forcing the Mind Flayer back. Hawkins survives. For now. Before we step into Season 3, this is the perfect time to subscribe to the channel and smash the bell icon. If you've made it this far, you're not just watching, you're diving deep into every hidden layer of Stranger Things. So subscribe now and stay with us, because Season 3 changes everything. Hawkins trades winter shadows for summer heat. Starcourt Mall rises as the new heart of the town. Friendships shift, romances grow, and beneath the glittering lights, a new threat builds quietly in the dark. Season 3 begins under bright summer skies. Starcourt Mall glows like a beacon, drawing crowds with neon lights and endless distractions. 11 and Mike navigate first love, while Dustin returns from camp with a strange radio transmission he can't decode. Joyce notices magnets losing their pull, small signs of a deeper disturbance. Hopper struggles to balance being sheriff and raising a superpowered teenager. Beneath the mall's floors, a secret Soviet operation pushes machinery designed to reopen the gate. 11 sealed. Each pulse of energy reverberates through Hawkins, awakening something that remembers its unfinished business with the town. The Mind Flayer returns in a new form, this time through flesh. Billy becomes its first host, dragged into a psychic storm where the creature twists his mind into obedience. People across Hawkins vanish into abandoned buildings, only to melt into a horrifying mass of tissue and bone. The Mind Flayer fuses these bodies into a single monstrous form, growing stronger with each victim. 11 and her friends chase disturbing clues: exploding rats, strange slime, neighbors acting like puppets. The truth becomes clear: the enemy isn't entering Hawkins, it's being rebuilt from within. The final confrontation erupts inside Starcourt Mall. The Mind Flayer's monstrous body storms the building, relentlessly hunting 11. With her powers weakening, she's forced to rely on instinct and courage alone. Meanwhile, Hopper and Joyce infiltrate the Soviet base below, weaving through alarms and gunfire to reach the machine reopening the gate. It becomes a race against time. In the end, Hopper sacrifices himself, urging Joyce to trigger the explosion that destroys the machine. The blast seals the gate, but takes Hopper with it. 11 loses her powers, the Byers leave town, and Hawkins is left grieving a hero no one can replace. Season 4 returns. Hawkins to deeper terror. A series of twisted murders leaves victims with broken limbs and hollow eyes. Visions begin. Floating clocks, whispers of past trauma, hallucinations that blur reality. The group realizes a new predator hunts from within the mind itself, Vecna. He pulls victims into nightmare realms built from their fears, using guilt and grief as weapons. Authorities blame cults and hysteria, but the kids know the truth. Vecna isn't random. He's opening gates with every kill. Far away, Hopper is alive in a brutal Russian prison, fighting to stay alive against starvation, freezing temperatures, and creatures imported from the Upside Down. Joyce and Murray launch a dangerous rescue mission. Back in Hawkins, Nancy and Robin uncover Vecna's origins. Henry Creel, a disturbed boy who later became Subject 001, and the first experiment in Brenner's program. 11, desperate to regain her powers, revisits memories she buried deep inside. Through painful visions, she realizes she created Vecna by casting Henry into the Upside Down years ago. Vecna's plan accelerates. Each murder tears a new gate into Hawkins. The Upside Down bleeds into the real world. Vines crawling over houses, ash drifting from crimson skies, and the ground shaking with an unnatural rhythm. Max becomes Vecna's next target, fighting through her own trauma as 11 reaches her in a dimension-spanning battle. Meanwhile, Hopper destroys monsters in Russia to weaken the hive mind. The group launches an assault on Vecna's lair. They hurt him, but not enough. Hawkins splits apart, two worlds beginning to merge. Vecna retreats, wounded but undefeated. Across all 4 seasons, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Every creature, every storm, every disappearance connects back to Vecna's influence. The Upside Down wasn't discovered. It was shaped. Henry Creel carved it into a frozen echo of Hawkins after 11 cast him there. The Demogorgon, the Mind Flayer, the Vines. Each was an extension of Vecna's evolving power. Hawkins wasn't unlucky. It was chosen, prepared, weakened, and marked for takeover. Every battle paved the way for the war he always intended to start. Now Hawkins stands on the edge of collapse. The sky burns red, the ground trembles, and familiar streets twist into warped shadows of the Upside Down. 11 carries the weight of every victory and every mistake, knowing the final confrontation will demand everything she has left. Around her, friends gather, scared, exhausted, but unbroken. Hope flickers like a small flame in a storm. And as they step toward the final battle, one truth echoes across the ruins. The real war is just beginning. If you want to follow this journey all the way to the end, every twist, every reveal, and the road to the final season, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell right now. The darkest chapter of Stranger Things is still ahead.